Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tina from TinaHeals.com, and this video is about Sabian symbols. Many of you have asked me the question that, Tina, what are Sabian symbols? Because I tend to write about them in my blog. So today I will get into the history of the Sabian symbols, how they were created, why they were created, and how we may awaken to a new layer of meaning in our natal chart if we apply the Sabian symbols. Okay, I have been studying them for a while, and they have enriched my understanding of astrology and symbolism to a great degree, so I want to share it with you. And I will end this video by discussing the first Sabian symbol on this YouTube channel, which is the Sabian symbol of 11 degrees of Pisces, on which I have my moon. So without wasting any time, let's get to Sabian symbols. So in 1925, there was an astrologer named Mark Edmund Jones. Okay, and he had this crazy idea of contacting a medium who was crippled and in wheelchair because she had really bad arthritis, and her name was Elsie Wheeler. Okay, and she was a medium and clairvoyant. So Mark Edmund Jones had this idea that on 360 cards he wrote out each of the degree of the zodiac. Each of the degrees he wrote down. So for instance, he wrote 10 degrees of Aries, 20 degrees of Scorpio. It starts from 0 degrees of Aries. Okay, so each of these cards had 1 degree. So Elsie Wheeler then got into a meditative trance-like state, and then she began to channel visions. So Edmund, he shuffled all these cards. Mark Edmund Jones, the astrologer, he shuffled all these cards, okay, kept reshuffling, reshuffling. And when she had entered this meditative state, he began to pick one card out at random. Okay, perfect. And she began to channel the messages from the ether as to what that degree of the zodiac would mean. And this is a very profound way of channeling messages. And we've seen this happen over and over again. We've read many books by channels and mediums. So this is how Elsie Wheeler came up with all the Sabian symbols. Within a day, I think by morning they had finished off 60% of the work, and by evening they started and finished the rest off. So that is so interesting. Each of the degree of the zodiac representing a symbol. And each of those cards, one card equals to 1 degree of the zodiac, shuffled and reshuffled. And they both did not know which card he was choosing. So he picked out a card and he just kept it. And she began to meditate and channel the messages and told him what the message was. So he wrote it down. And then they opened the card and then they saw, okay, this is the degree upon which this symbol brings meaning to. So this is how they worked, and it was profound actually. The scene sort of flashed vividly in front of her eyes. As he shuffled and picked out a card, the scene, it came into a vision, and it was very vivid. She could feel all the nuances of that particular image. So that's why they're very detailed and they're very profound. Okay, now it may seem like this is a random act of Mark Edmund Jones and Elsie Wheeler, but upon close study, they have a definitive, integrative, structural pattern. They integrate together, and they create a sort of cyclical process or a mandala of meaning. Okay, so the wheel of understanding, the wheel of the zodiac, they brought meaning to that with the symbols. So if you study the Sabian symbol of each degree of your personal planets, say sun, moon, ascendant degree, you will understand a lot of what has transpired in your life. it'll bring a huge clarity, believe me. Okay, there is a definitive complex internal structure to this. Now Dane Rudyard, okay, Rudyard, he was someone who really worked on the Sabian symbols, and all the writings that you will see are mostly from his work. Okay, so he says that all these cards, when placed together like a mandala, these symbols formed a pentagonal 5-step process. Okay, it was a pentagon, so pentagonal 5-step process they created. As I said, it was a mandala, and it reminded him, or it was reminiscent of sacred geometry, and he was stumped. If you really study the Sabian symbols, you will see how they are not standalone symbology. They are actually threaded and weaved together in an exquisite pattern of exposition, if I may say. So it's like a film. Okay, especially if you start looking at the Sabian symbols in your natal chart. Now, they are not isolated images. They are a cyclical process. They are a mandala. So having said that about the Sabian symbols, let me talk about the Sabian symbol of my natal moon, which is 11 degrees of Pisces, and my moon is actually opposite my Venus, directly opposite my Venus, which is at 12 degree Virgo, and my Mars is at 22 degrees, and my Ascendant degree is 7 degrees of Virgo. So you see, I have all these planets in Virgo, and my natal moon stands opposite them, all alone, of course with Ketu. And Ketu subtracts and Rahu is here. Of course, you know Rahu Ketu are always opposite each other, and Rahu adds. So this is my first house and my 7th house. First house of self, 7th house of relationships. So the 11 degrees of Pisces, they have a very precious Sabian symbol. That is why I wanted to share this with you and bring to light my own journey, you know. It is people traveling a narrow path seeking illumination. I will repeat that again. People walking a narrow path seeking illumination. Isn't that profound? This is where my emotions, where my imagination, my psychic awareness, all the feminine in me is seeking for a higher purpose. Ultimately, okay, so this is so interesting because this quest of spiritual awakening, it is my inspiration as well as my aspiration. The material world does not provide fodder or inspiration and aspiration to me. It is the world of spirit from which I draw my habit patterns. Moon is also the habit patterns, my imagination. It's in Pisces. It's super fluid, okay? It is water, immutable water, ever-changing, right? So the quest of spiritual awakening, it harkens to this symbol. Do you understand? So if 11 degrees in your natal chart, Pisces is activated, there is a quest of that archetypal imagery that is present there. For me, it's deeply personal because it is my moon. Okay, so and this archetypal image actually is what I've been doing, searching for something higher than myself, searching for something that I can't put words to. Okay, and it's a very profound experience. So and remember that the devotee or the seeker has to stay on the path, no matter what life throws at her, no matter what distractions come, no matter what hurdles you may have to cross. You walk that path because you believe in the light at the end of the dark night of the soul. Okay, so this is so beautiful, and believe me, there is a sincerity to this, the Sabian symbol and this degree of Pisces. There's a deep sincerity to this because you are always striving for a higher purpose. You may lose grounding. There are cautionary tales to this energy also. Blinded by light, you're so focused on that journey, you're like the horse with the blinkers. That could happen. It happened to me. I've gone through all the stages and will again, I'm sure. So, not knowing the destination, I expect there to be a higher purpose, but I don't know the destination oftentimes, and it can be a cautionary tale, although I personally do not believe in any fixed destination. The meaning and destinations are always changing, forever in flux, mutable Pisces, and denial of physical pleasure. This is definitely something that came later on in life as I matured, and I would dress in a very conservative way before this. I never did makeup till I had my baby, and I started my YouTube videos, and I became Tina Heels. I did not even touch lipstick to my face. So all the denials that I have denied myself, not that I missed it, or not that it just never appealed to me. But it's obvious, I love it now. So there's a difference. Some could say it's falling back into matter. But if you do not experience everything the material world has to give, you will not be able to transcend it. I think this is something I have learned with my life, okay? Can get distracted. Pisces, mutable Pisces is known to be distracted. So, yes, that is again something I've had to work with. Now, Virgo Pisces, the two polarities, especially the 10th to the 11th degree, deal with inhalation and exhalation. These are deep esoteric studies that I have immersed myself into, and I'm telling you this. So Virgo Pisces is about inhalation, exhalation. So what happens between inhalation and exhalation is the retention of the breath, which in yogic terms is called kumbhak. Okay, so kumbhak is ultimately what gets prana and apana to sushumna. These are Laya Yoga heavy ideas. There's prana and there's apana in our bodies, and they're flowing through which life and anti-life are the very opposite polarity of life. They're flowing down prana and apana. Okay, the life force and the death force. When they come onto this very special nadi, we have 72,000 nadis in our body. Then we have the Kundalini awakening. When the prana and apana come upon the Sushumna, we have the awakening. So, inhalation, exhalation. 11 degrees Pisces deals with exhalation. So my Venus is inhaling, and my moon is exhaling. So thereby the Venus in my first house, conjunct moon and Rahu and my ascendant degree, is bringing about a new me, with so much activation that's been happening from, I would say, 2015. So that was a bit about Sabian symbols and sharing a personal story with you. So I hope you enjoyed that. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and let me know what you feel about all these eccentric topics that I make videos on. I haven't quite got the hang of the dailies and the weeklies and all. I mean, I do them, but they just don't seem to get the traction that I desire. So please support me in any way. Visit my website, book a reading, or donate if you can. Thank you so much. Speak soon.